Everyone, and welcome to True Stories Video Journalism for Session 1 in 2019. My name is Chris Mamazelis and I'll be your online tutor. Today I'm going to go through the Blackboard, which is this whole little section for you, show you where everything is, the information guide, the content, the lectures, the types of readings that you should be doing, what other resources you have, the discussion board where we're going to communicate with each other, and all the assessment tasks as well. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the future of journalism, and I'll give you some links to some of the work I've put together and what previous students have put together. So let's get started on the Getting Started tab here. And there's information here just on netiquette, so that when people are dealing with each other online, there's a bit of etiquette. It's really essential because it's really easy for people to get upset online, and it's easy to hide behind a keyboard, but it does really upset people and it constitutes bullying. So please read through it and take note when you are going through and posting stuff on the discussion board, because as an online class, most of the work will be done online on the discussion board. So please be nice to each other, be kind, and let's all work together. Okay, it's all about online culture, respectful behaviour and legal conduct, safety and privacy, and respectful communication. Okay, so let's get back. Essential software, well, you'll need Adobe Acrobat. You should have that on your computer, or you can get it for free. The Microsoft Office suite, and you'll need some editing equipment as well. So whether it's iMovie, ones that come free with your Windows program, Final Cut Pro, or Adobe Premiere, and you'll need some sort of recording device, whether it's a proper camera, a DSLR, which is what I use, or you can even use your phones, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay, so please don't worry, there's an option there for everyone. Okay, contacts, you can contact me with my email there. There is also our course coordinator, Dr. Lisa Milner. I'll make hers available, and also Mr. Ian Slade, who can help you with borrowing things. So you're all allowed to borrow equipment from the university. Now, I'm not sure if you can get to the Lismore campus, but if you can, you're more than welcome to borrow equipment. Okay, I'll just make these available for everybody. Okay, make this profile available. Yes, submit. Edit. Yes, submit. Okay, lovely. So you now have contacts for everybody that you need to deal with at Southern Cross University. Okay. The unit information guide is probably the most important thing you can do, or it's the most important thing you can do by reading it. So you can either view it online or you can download a copy for yourself. So view it online and it gives you a complete and utter breakdown of what this unit's about. Okay, so it introduces students to contemporary video-based journalism production models and their application on broadcast, online and mobile platforms. This unit also critically analyses the forms, styles and features of video-based reporting in the contemporary digital and broadcast news environment. Practical exercises and assessment tasks contribute to the development of students' research, planning and video production skills. So it's really good, and I won't read it for you, I just wanted to give you a guide, but there's lots of good stuff there. Okay, so broadcast news production, this is the sort of things we do in the next 12 weeks. TV news and current affairs models, video-based journalism in the digital world, production planning and execution, research, writing and interviewing for news, camera operation and audio, shooting video sequences and overlay, digital editing, using social media content, ethics and media law for video journalists, and future directions in video journalism. And we're actually going to cover a little bit about that in the first lecture, number 11 here, because it's actually quite important to know where you can go with this sort of stuff. Okay. So there's a prescribed text as well. An ebook version of this text is available through the library, The Electronic Reporter by Barbara Allison, and you can access that in the reading, and I'll actually go through that with you as well. Now, I just mentioned about the recording equipment. Please get online and tell me if you don't have any equipment at all. Most of you should have a phone at least with a camera, and that can record everything you need to do at the moment. So there's no problem using your phone in this class, especially if you're doing it online. Now, DSLRs shoot better footage, but phones do a pretty good job. What you will need is, if you're recording online, just to sample just to sample the audio that you record, you'll need some good style headphones as well. If you have any problem with any of these things, please contact me. So if you don't have any equipment at all, if you don't have any headphones or digital video editing equipment, I can work out a solution for you. They usually come free with some sort of program. So with iMovie comes free with Macs, and I'm not exactly sure what it's called on Windows at the moment, but I can find out for you. So studying this unit, we're going to produce these lectures for you online. So I'm going to direct it for you, and I'll put up these every Friday because that's the same time that the lecture would have been held on campus. And then there's tutorials, which are very nice and detailed, and then there's online activities for you as well. You can read through all this as well. It just means that you really need to apply yourself. And we're hoping that you've already got some basic video production skills, but if not, that's okay. I can help you along the way, and I can give you some tutorials that you can work on as well. So the estimated workload is 36 hours, and we suggest you put in about 94 hours of personal study. This should give you a really good grounding on being a great journalist. Now the assessment. This is really good, interesting. So the first thing we need to do is a bit of a case study, and we're going to deconstruct a news story. It's 700 words, and as you can see, it's worth 20%. So that's due on the 7th of April. So we've got about a month to put that together, and I'll go through that in detail with you in the next couple of weeks as well. Okay. So the second one's your first news story, which is and a reflection, which is no more than 2 minutes. Most news stories are only 1.5 minutes, so please don't go too far over that, over the 2-minute mark, and make sure it's over 60 seconds as well. All right, and I'll show you again. Please don't worry. I'll go through it all with you and show you how it's broken down. I'll give you templates to work with, and there's lots of information in the tutorial section for you, so you can't get lost. And the third one is a video, current affairs story, and a reflection again. So it's a bit longer, it's longer form. It's more like writing a feature story in the written form, but we're doing it in a video form. So we develop the story much more rather than just a short news story. And that's due on the 2nd of June, and it's worth 40%. Okay. And then we have a participation. So that's just how you participate in unit activities throughout the study period and post on the discussion board. So more details on the first assessment, the case study. So you examine a television news report and conduct a textual analysis using the image and text of their interaction. The choice of news report is up to you. Choose between 90 and 2 minutes. I sort of just went through that before. The following elements must be included: a content audit of image and text. So there's a table there that you can look at, discuss the news values, and reflect on the news images, and critically reflect on the relevance using images in news discourse. So there'll be examples for you to have a look at, and we can go, and I'll actually give you a bit of a, I'll give you a template you can work on, so it makes it nice and easy. So to do this, you'll need to have some readings. The first 4 weeks of this unit includes sections on news discourses and textual analysis. So you'll be learning through the readings on what you need to do for this first assessment. Okay? And I'll show you where they are in the course content folder as well. This is an example of how to actually put it all together, and I won't go into too much detail online, but you can stop and have a look at it and see how it goes. And again, like I said, I'll put an actual template, a Word document template for you, so that you just need to change all the content within the template. Okay. And the assessment criteria here. So you'll submit it in a I'll set up a submission point for you, and it needs to be a single Word document, and I will mark it based on these different things. So the analysis, how effective does the analysis of words and images in news text accurately outline and explain the embedded news values and image composition in the report? How clearly is the analysis tabulated? Without reading it all for you, because you can do that all in your own time, we're looking at the critical reflection, how much research you've done, your written expression on how well you write it, and your submission, does it conform to what we've asked you in regards to length, components and tasks? And is it submitted according to instructions contained in the document? So remember, one single Word document and load it up to the submission point, which I will show you at some stage. Assessment 2, this is the first major program we're going to do, and I'll actually show you some examples of what we've done previously in this space. It's a news story, and we're going to use all the content from the lectures and the tutorials to produce this. So it's up to 2 minutes news report with strong news values, and the original elements need to be produced by you. So interview grabs, reporter voiceover and pieces to camera, relevant overlay footage and sequences, audio content, supers and paperwork. Okay, please don't worry, this is what the course is all about, and we'll go through it each week and show you how to produce everything. You also produce a 250 word reflection, okay? Again, the checklist, the submission point, and the criteria that we're looking for. Is it newsworthy? What sort of research have you put together? What sort of sources have you been using? And what sort of interview techniques have you been using? What type of visual elements have you put together? The technical details, how well it's presented, the ethics, making sure that you don't defame anyone, a bit of a reflection, and again, the submission. Have you put it in according to our outlined instructions? The next one, assessment 3, a video current affairs story and reflection. This is a bit more detailed, and a 4-minute current affairs report that has strong values. And what we're doing here, we're adding to the stories, where it's the same as a news story, but we're adding more meat to it. We're adding more information, more stuff that people can actually grab. Again, all the elements, multiple interviews, voiceovers, pieces to camera, overlay footage, audio, supers, and again, another 400 word reflection. So why you chose the topic, how is it newsworthy, and why does it need deeper exploration through a current affairs genre? Again, we've got a writing critical reflections guide in the unit documents that you can have a look at. Go through your checklist, your submission point, and again, what are we looking for when we mark it for you? This is worth 40%, and we're looking for newsworthiness, research, source selections, visual elements, again, technical details, presentations. Now, let me highlight technical details. Is the sound of high quality? Has the camera and lighting provided effective and informative visual information? Is it well edited, and is the editing style appropriate for the news report genre? Now, that's really important because I want to make sure that you've nutted out all these problems in the first assessment, the assessment 3, which is the first video, and you clean it up sorry, I take that back, I didn't scroll enough. Assessment 2, the video news story. So let's get all our problems out in the first one, and in assessment 3, our current affairs story, it's really well worked out and defined. And then finally, it's just your participation mark. It's only worth 10%, but that 10% can make the difference between a credit or a distinction, and distinction or a high distinction. And it's basically just seeing how well you participate in the activities throughout the semester. So these are suggested timetables. Today we're just doing the unit overview. We're going to talk a little bit about broadcast news and production. There's readings for you to do. So I'd like you to do the readings so that you're prepared for the next week's lecture. And then the next week's lecture prepares you for the tutorial content that you're going to put through, and all the way through. So it's like a little bit of a snake following each other, but it all works in sequence, okay? And I won't go into it into too much detail because we'll do that as we progress. But they're sort of the breakdowns of the weeks, and it's the weeks commencing. Like I said before, this tutorial was supposed to be held on a Friday, so I'm going to try and get it ready by Friday. Now, if anyone wants it done earlier, please let me know because I can make time available for it. But I'm just leaving it on Friday because that's when people were expecting to to do all the work, and I just want to leave it there so I'm not upsetting anyone or anything along the way. Okay, so that's the UIG, Unit Information Guide, which is very, very handy. Okay. So the content. Now, this course, actually, I'll just quickly go through the lectures and then I'll go back to unit content because unit content's quite detailed. So I'll go to the lectures. Media site lectures. Now, that would have been recorded in the room, so there won't be anything in media site lectures. But what I might do is I'll just set up another tab which will have week 1 lecture, and you'll be able to view it here. I do have the PowerPoint slide available, and I'll put the video link up there for you as well. Okay, so this is where all the lectures are going to be held, all the lecture content, sorry, and all the unit content, which is the tutorial stuff, will be in through here. So again, this is a very well written course by Jonty Sinclair, and it's very detailed for you and gives you lots of information to work with. So there's just a little welcome note. You know, welcome to True Stories. This study guide is designed to support your learning throughout the unit. So it's going through using the assigned textbooks, how to approach the readings, introductory activity, and I'm hoping a lot of people have done this. Just introducing yourself, briefly explain what you understand of news, values, and video journalism, what you hope to learn from this course, and what you consider to be your strongest media and journalism skill, whether it's production experience or you're whiz on a camera, interviewer, producer, or editor. Now, after you've introduced yourself, check out the posts from other students and from me. Make comments and ask questions because we're here to share knowledge, okay? Now, this is a very, very detailed breakdown of the 12-week study guide. And as you can see, it's got lots of content here, so you can't get well, you can get a bit lost, but it's actually quite good because it's lots of good content for you, okay? So there's a topic overview, the objectives, and on completion of this topic, a student should be able to that's how it's going to work out, sorry. My apologies, take that back. So topic 1, Introduction to Video Journalism. So that's what we're doing today. We're talking about all this stuff, introducing the concept of news, news values, news discourse, and framing within our context of video journalism and broadcast news operations, the operating functions in a room, and what sort of work journalists are doing. And the good thing about this is that there's videos from working journalists that you can go through and you can watch their videos. So I'll click on there in a second, but it's got the objectives here. So upon completion, you should be able to go through all those things, okay? And it goes through for every week. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and on we go, okay? So you can go through it. You can go as fast as you like if you want. And what I do is I try to break things down for you in the lecture, okay? And then you can come into the tutorials and put them into practice. So today, part of the tutorial stuff is to go through all these, watch these videos, do the readings, and then do the learning activities, okay? So it looks like a lot of work, but it's not really. It's you know, this one's a minute. That's 8 minutes for this video. You know, 40 seconds for another. 1 minute, 30 seconds. So there's not a lot of stuff to go through, and then just post your discussion on the discussion board. But there's lots of good content here for you. Okay. All right, so that's the breakdown of how the course content's put together, and feel free to go through and look at all the other things like my readings. That's where all the readings are held. So if you click on there, you should be able to get access the course reader, assigned textbook, and you just click on there and it's available online. You should be able to read it. Okay. Oh, I need to sign in. There you go. So intro, contents, and everything like that. So nice and easy to do. Now, you should all have access to this. If you don't, please let me or Ian know so that we can sort it out for you. There we go. A changing profession. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. Okay. So I won't go into detail because this is part of your readings. But really good stuff. Other resources. This is where I've kept the templates for you. There's some the other thing I did with my online classes, and I'm more than happy to do this for, the on-campus students, is that I actually got them to also present the news. So each person got to present the news. Now I can do that for you as well. If you want to come in on a Thursday afternoon, I'm at Griffith University at Lismore, and I'm more than happy to put you up against a green screen, and then we can record the news. Now, here's the example of the Channel 9 script that I was talking about, shot list examples, pitching ideas, equipment advice. And if you want to use the Sony Z7s, there's some information there. How do you submit your assignments? Self-reporting, Final Cut Pro setup, paper edit templates, and a little setup of a green screen I set up in my own house just to do a little presentation to camera. Now, this is all really good stuff, and we'll talk about it in the next few days, but they're resources for you to use. Oh, sorry, next few weeks. Here's the discussion board. I've got a couple of posts from people up there already, or one post, so I'd like you to post everything on here for you. Okay. What else do we have? Okay, so there's an introduction to Turnitin and how we're going to load up. I mentioned to you before how you're going to submit your assignments, and this is where you do it. It's in the Assessment Task and Submission tab. There's an introduction to Turnitin if you've never used it before, and this is where you actually load up everything. Okay, there's some academic skills. Please, if you're having trouble, please read that. It'll help you with referencing, researching, and all that sort of stuff. And please don't plagiarize. That is using other people's ideas or thoughts as your own. You want to access a library, any type of books you want to grab, that's the tab for it. Okay, so that's all you need to know about Blackboard. This is especially for new people. If you've been here before, you probably could go through it on your own, which is fine. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to quickly go through the PowerPoint, and I won't spend too much time on it, but it's about the future of journalism, okay? So let's go through it. Video journalism 2019, the future. We're going to talk a bit about the future of video journalism, what sort of opportunities there are, and I'm going to put a show reel together to show you what my previous students have done. Now, they produced a whole news bulletin at Southern Cross Uni, and I put one together at Griffith Uni as well, and they came out really well. Now, if you guys would like to do that, I'm more than happy to show you how to do that as well. So that's sort of, you still need to produce your stories, but if you want to produce your stories in a bulletin, we can do that. It's a bit of an extracurricular activity, but it's fantastic on your show reel. The other thing is it's about convergence. Now, what does that mean? It means you need to be multi-skilled. You can't just be a journalist anymore. You need to be a video journalist or editor, social media, and everything. So this course is actually equipping you to actually become a multi-skilled journalist that can do everything. And that's the way the world's coming, simply because the money's gone out of traditional journalism. And the people that are multi-skilled will get the jobs over the ones that are not. I've provided links for you in this little orange section, so you can go and see where I got the information for. But video communications is king, okay, especially on the net. So there's a whole heap of of stats that I've put up there for you, and I won't read them out because it'll bore you, but you can go back and have a look at anything. But, just the first one, statistics show that in 2017, online video will account for 74% of all web traffic and 80% in 2019. So it also improves as SEO, which is search engine optimization. So your stories are found easier if there's a video on there. And you'll see, like, I think I'll put it up through here. So I've got the people like SBS and ABC and Vice and even News.com. They all have video to accompany their stories because of the search engine optimization skill that comes along with it. So I've got links here for all these little things just to show you what sort of jobs are available at ABC, SBS, Vice Australia. Now, I haven't looked at this link for a while, so let's see what's going on here. Okay, it's just taken us to Vice Digital, which is excellent. This is a really good site, and we look at their news stuff. Or you can do a survey if you like. Okay. All right, so Vice News is cutting edge. SBS is the special broadcasting service, and the ABC is the Australian Broadcasting Service. And let's just see what I was looking for jobs. Okay, so there's job searching. So it didn't look like Vice had any. There is no jobs at the moment going for any journalists, but more behind the scenes. Let's have a quick look at SBS. What have SBS got for us? Still waiting. Here we go. Okay. So the thing I was talking about before is Convergence. Now, they're looking for a journalist. Are you passionate about telling stories? It's looking for a talented and driven journalist with experience in TV, digital, and or radio. This is what I was saying to you before. You need to be multi-skilled. So opportunity to work across TV, digital, and radio. So unfortunately, the days of a single journalist are limited. So, I mean, it's not that it's not happening. There still are people that just do journalism, but they're looking for people that are multi-skilled. Okay. Now, April Clark was a former student of mine, and she said she was finding it difficult to get jobs, but now she works for Channel 9 and on the Gold Coast, and I'll show you on my website, News and Current Affairs, which is mediology.com.au. That's April Clark there presenting for Griffith University News. Now, I won't play all of it, but it just shows you a little bit about what sort of content I was producing with Southern Cross Griffith University.
Good afternoon, I'm April Clark and welcome to Griffith University News. In the wake of the shocking public deaths of domestic violence victims Tara Brown and Karina Locke, calls for legal help have reached an all-time high. The Robina Community Legal Centre's doors are bursting open thanks to their free volunteer legal service. However, they cannot expand to meet this public demand due to their lack of state government funding.
A short consultation with a lawyer could cost you an absolute fortune, but here at the Robina Community Legal Centre, advice from local lawyers is completely free.
11 lawyers, 9 lawyers on desks on a variety of legal matters from family law, criminal law, civil litigation, employment law, and a variety of other matters.
This volunteer legal service is being overwhelmed by calls for help from Gold Coast domestic violence victims and is surviving on next to nothing after failing to gain state government funding.
We regularly turn people away because either we have too many people and there's not enough time. We have to tell them to come back next week.
The Attorney General Yvette D'Arth, in a letter to the centre, explained there's probably no need for more than one community legal centre in the city of Gold Coast. We may consider funding, but not before 2017.
Why would one legal centre in a city this big that's having the Commonwealth Games year after next, why would one be enough? That makes no sense.
Local councillors have come together to rally their support for the centre.
The early intervention work at the Robina Community Legal Centre reduces all sorts of costs, including costs to society. They are absolutely deserving of more funding because I don't think there's any other service that delivers better bang for your buck.
Before the Shadow Treasurer's visit, he was unaware of the scale of the centre's operations.
They're looking for answers from a government that should be providing it. And that's what, as local members, we're all LNP members here on the Gold Coast, and so we're committed to try to find out those answers.
Staying afloat by raising money through Bunnings barbecues, fundraisers, and even a donation envelope on the way in, the Robina Community Legal Centre is now calling for public support, asking for signatures for their petition addressed to the state government about their fight for funding.
Because if we weren't there doing that, these 30 people that we see a night, every week, 1,500 people a year, wouldn't have anywhere to go.
April Clark, Griffith University News.
Australian tourists have been a contributing factor to the increase in economic growth in Vietnam.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop it there, but you can get onto my website, mediology.com.au, and you can watch the whole broadcast if you like. What I will do also is I'm going to show you the one that we did for Southern Cross University with a former student, but I'll do that just after we go through the rest of the PowerPoint, okay? So what I like people to do, and now it's optional, why don't you keep a diary on your, build a WordPress site and keep a diary and record everything you do each week, and then you can actually put your videos on the WordPress site. So it's like a basically your own website. Now, if anyone's interested in that, I can help you with it. So please either just put on the discussion board that you're interested in WordPress, and I'll set up a tutorial for it. Okay. There's a link to LinkedIn if you want to become professional, and this is a link to the Southern Cross news stories that people could download from YouTube last time. But instead of doing that, I've actually put the bulletin together, which shows you what the students produced and the option of presenting as well if you'd like to. Like I said, the presenting side of it's an extracurricular activity, so you don't get marked on it, but it's excellent for your show reel. And that's how April got a job, and another girl called Carly that's in that same video. Okay, so that's enough of the PowerPoint slides. So I'm going to show you the work we did at Southern Cross Uni last time around. Okay. And I'm sorry if it cuts off a little bit of the titles down the bottom, but that's my screen grab.
Good afternoon, I'm Carlin Major and welcome to Southern Cross University News. Well, there is no doubt that the Lismore community spirit has shone through in the recovery from the recent floods. I was on campus today for the Welcome Back Wednesday event. The student services at the university have shown their support for students affected by the recent floods in the region by holding an event in the Goodman Plaza today. Welcoming students back to campus following study week, flood recovery services and support were made available to students. The event, held by the Lismore and External Student Association LEXA, SCU Counselling and the SCU Chaplaincy Service, intended to help build morale on campus following the natural disaster.
It's important to support students in times of hardship, and we're hoping by holding this event that we've been able to put some smiles on the students' faces and connect them with the support services that's available to them.
Local services, including the community group Lismore Helping Hands, the Flood Recovery Centre and the Emergency Chaplaincy Service, were available to offer emotional and physical support to those students affected by the floods. Michael Jones is a welfare door knocker with the Lismore Helping Hands, and he has been helping students throughout the afternoon.
Making sure that they're aware of what services are in place and available, but more importantly, making sure that they're coping emotionally well with the trauma of grief and loss that everyone's been through.
The Welcome Back Wednesday event ran in conjunction with Lex's free weekly barbecue. Students enjoyed free massages and other social activities whilst listening to live music by local musician and SCU student Dylan Pinkerton.
There's been a lot of support for a lot of people, especially in disaster situations. Yeah, it's been great.
Lextra is just great. I just love the way that they support the students. It feels like such a community here.
The university and wider community have today rallied together to make sure students know they are supported in getting back on their feet.
Even after everything has been packed up, it's the emotional support that really does play an important role in the recovery process. I'm Carla Major, reporting for SCU News Lismore. Skin cancer is a huge issue, affecting 2 in every 3 Australians. And with global temperatures expected to rise in coming years, the Cancer Council is predicting that the risk of developing skin cancer may increase. Chloe Jagar reports.
More than 2,000 Australians die from skin cancer every year. While Australians love the outdoors, our active lifestyle comes with a risk. And the Cancer Council is warning that the risk of skin cancer may increase in years to come, with doctors agreeing.
What we've got is what's called a demographic bulge, that we still have a large population of baby boomers and Gen Xers who haven't reached the peak years of skin cancer production, unfortunately. And we're going to see an increase in Australia before we see a decrease.
With temperatures in Australia expected to rise by a top of 1.5 degrees by 2030, the increased heat may lead to people wearing less clothing and increasing their sun exposure.